Okay, good morning, sir. And now the recording has started, sir, and you can start your presentation.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. कई लैंग्वेज बता सारी रहते आशीष भाई इंग्लिश के मिक्स
Sir, actually, English and Hindi would be good because there are a couple of students who understand only Hindi and English. They may not be comfortable with Gujarati.
perfect. Then I'll go with English only. It's okay.
Yeah, fine. That's absolutely fine, sir.
All right. So, welcome back to the second part of the presentation that we had once a week back. And as I know that you all are having a beautiful physics background, and some of you might be, opting astronomy and space science as your career, or a few of you may be interested in just pursuing that as a hobby or a passion. So in this case, I would like to, give you some information about what's happening around. Like today morning, whatever news that I got that has some physics somewhere. So I'll be just picking out, like, designing a freestanding supercharged polypeptide proton conducting membrane, manipulating non-magnetic atoms in chromium halide enables tuning of magnetic properties. Historic carbon dioxide decline could hold clues for future climate. Quantum loops, US unveils blueprint for virtually unhackable internet. Paper describing hummingbird-sized dinosaur retracted. Now you see all these things. These are kind of, a flooding of different types of news every day, which has a majority of the physics as their base. Be it geology, be it chemistry, be it biology, be it anything. Even if you are opting a radiology, or you are a radiologist, like you are a doctor, then also you need to understand physics, because suppose if I'm talking about MRI, right, magnetic resonance, then also physics is to be understood. Suppose if I say that you are undergoing a sonography, then the probe uses physics, right? Suppose if you are a routine doctor, if you are a nephrologist, then in nephrology there is a kidney functioning that is to be tested. In that case also, they make you understand what is the difference of density in the urethra and difference of density in the bladder. So all these things, trust me, physics is everywhere. But we are trying to connect your dots with astronomy, which is right now not upcoming, but yes, upcoming in India, where majority of the students are opting for different types of astronomy, like maybe astronaut, as a physicist, or as someone who does a research in nanotechnology or anything that gives boost to astronomy. So I am starting the sharing of my presentation, and I left it somewhere, so I'll be just doing that now. Okay. Yeah, I think this was the last slide that we had in our prior presentation, where I always say that does that mean that astronomy is everything? And I always say yes, everything. And I say you choose any course. As I said, that you be an engineer, you be a physicist, you be a chemist, you be a geologist, you be medical, anything, any course. But if you wish, then I can give you the connect of astronomy. So can you elaborate astronomy understanding more? Now, in this regard, I would like to take you to a place where astronomy is understood in a different way, in different fashion, with a different fathom. Like if you are undergrad student and right now you are learning astronomy, like you are learning physics or learning anything, then first of all thing is the theoretical thing that is to be understood perfectly. Then the theory is put into practice. So the practical aspect, I know, let me clean my breast that you may laugh on me, I know, but I'm not asking you to repeat this thing. But throughout my 3 years of BSc chemistry, I never did any physics, or I never did any engineering, or even no masters, nothing. But throughout my 3 years of career in college, I attended 2 lectures. One in FY. That was by chance. It was so that I was roaming in a lobby and suddenly principal came. So whichever class that was open, I just entered and I sat. So that was English class. And I was studying in Gujarati medium. Throughout I studied in Gujarati medium. So that was one class that I had to attend because I sat there. And second time again the same thing happened. I took a chemistry and a botany. So again second year, we were two of us, me and my friend, we were just roaming around a lobby, and again principal shouted, go to your class, and we never knew which class was our class. So we entered in a class where there was a botany going on, and he asked something, and that was again an English medium class, so we were not understanding what they were saying. Monocotyledonine, dicotyledonine, polycotyledonine, and all these things. So he just said that you explain what is a dicotyledonine, and we both looked at each other and we laughed a little, and he just threw us out. So that was a 5-minute class. Only these two classes I could attend in my college time, and later on in my life I understood that this is not the way one should attend any college, because theory is a base for any practical, right? I know that you must be knowing all these things, but I'm sharing my views with you typically because I attended every practicals, right? Every botanical practical, every chemistry practicals I attended, and somehow I was in second year I was college third, and in last year we were raided by income tax department. Our business was affected from September. So in March when I appeared for exam, out of so many, only 931 could clear in first class. I just missed the first class with 2 marks. So my thing is, while you are in college, while you are doing either undergrad or postgrad, whatever you are doing, trust me, your dedication for the study pays off once you are into a practical field other than education, right? When you are in field, then you come to know, oh God, we missed understanding this particular concept. So theory is the base for everything. Then comes the practical things, and allied sciences like not only physics or not only engineering. As I said, there are multiple sciences which can take you to astronomy. In astronomy, there are myths and misconceptions to be handled, and sometimes it is misunderstood up to astrology. So let me just give you some touch base upon some theoretical aspect that Kepler, Newton, Einstein, and Stephen Hawking, and Chandrasekhar, and so many people just through their lives to make us understand something more about astronomy and physics and all these things. So all these things are now part of our physics and astronomy. Like all the things that I have written here on my slide are taking you somewhere in astronomy where every sentence needs at least 50 years to understand. Understand this. Every small 2-word thing needs at least 50 years to understand. Research is long way. Okay. So let us take it one by one. Like practical, as I said, that it requires some experiment, it requires some model making, and then it has to be observed, that whatever experiment that are to be done, you need a model of that particular thing, and then you make observation. After the observation, you understand that okay, now this observation is not up to the mark, so again you have to experiment. So this goes on, right? These experiment you must have done in your school or college, a science fair, and you must have made model which could be static, which could be working. So many different types of models we can make and we can understand. If we don't understand how to make model, that means we are not theoretically correct. Understand by this thing. If you can't make model of something, that means you are still raw in your theory. If you are good in your theory, then definitely you can make a working or static model and or make someone understand the concept of whatever topic that you are studying or you wish to make someone study. The observational aspect is the best aspect in astronomy because without observation, nothing can be taken into consideration. So there are three aspects of observation: naked observation, telescopic observation, and photographic observation. I'll just go through this very little. Like naked eye, we can understand some constellation, planet, meteors, comet. Already, you must have even seen comet since past more than I think 20 odd days. Comet Neowise was visible last yesterday was the last day, and now probably only the small portion is visible from India. The rest of the countries are enjoying this because they are not having monsoon, and here because of our monsoon we cannot see. But these are the things that we can enjoy with naked eye. In telescope, we can search for comets, we can search for exoplanet, asteroids, and some type of large telescope. They can reveal so many things through different wavelength, right? So there are different types of telescope, that is radio, optical, infrared, X-ray, microwave, and all. So many types of telescope. So observatory and telescope are the first thing. Then comes photographic, like CCD camera that can be attached, or there can be a photograph of a spectrograph that is taken, or say you can use the CCD to check the whatever observation that you did and whatever observation that you couldn't understand for on a daily basis. So like suppose if I want to say discover an asteroid, how would I do? Like asteroid is a belt, right? Asteroids are in a belt. It's not something where it's just it's not a thin line. It's a kind of a tube. If you imagine a tire tube, it is kind of a tire tube that is surrounding the Martian orbit and inside the Jupiter's orbit. So it's a tube. So I know that the maximum thickness of asteroid could be in this particular belt, which is called ecliptic belt or solar plane. So I would like to take continuous photograph of a small region, right? Because if at all there is an asteroid, then there definitely is a movement, and that movement must not be coinciding with the stellar movement. Like stars must be moving at a specific speed, but asteroid is not moving at that speed. So what would I do? I would try to keep clicking picture every day of one particular constellation. Say suppose I have decided for say constellation say Leo, then Leo constellation I'll be clicking every day, every day, every day. So after 300 400 days, understand, it's not a 1 day, 2 day, 5 day job. It could be long, it could be short, depend upon your luck. So then there is a kind of a stacking of one by other, one by other, one by other, one by, and in that stacking, if at all you see a movement of one small dot with the background of stars, then you are in position to say that I found something. Then you need to check it with a ephemery of asteroid that is out there, that is published by International Astronomical Union, and you say, oh shit, this is something already been discovered by someone. But sometimes if you are lucky, then you are the one who could be asteroid discoverer, right? So these are the different observations that are very important in astronomy. Allied sciences, as I said, that there are a number of sciences which can take you to astronomy. So I'm not getting into this because we are more concerned that whatever the physics and whatever the engineering aspect of astronomy, we would like to understand. Like myths and misconceptions are numerous, like even prevailing myths or ancient myths, like that Rahu eats up the sun, and we had to believe because we had never known that it's a moon that is covering the sun. But now we know everything. But even prevailing myth, like you should not eat while the solar eclipse is in progress. So a recent eclipse, 21st of June, I had snacks and I had a tea. I drank water while the progress was on. So these are the myths and misconceptions that you have to fight as a physicist or as an engineer, right? Whatever you are having a background, but you have to fight such myths. And last but not the least, astrology, which is always, a kind of, even if you are a physicist, even if you are an engineer, you would always like to say and ask, sir, what's my future? Right. And so many, before any student speaks out that I want to get into astronomy, parents speaks first. Sir, what can be, the salary of a person who goes to ISRO? Sir, what can be a salary of a person who does a research in PRL? Would there be a good bread butter in astronomy? I tell you that it's a very much a secondary question, but in Gujarat, it is the first primary question, that what is the total earning of someone who is in astronomy? I understand, but how many chartered accountants or how many doctors are passing through? I was working with a chartered accountant firm, and I know that some of the chartered accountant their salary was below the salary of a clerk who was working at us for 10 years. So it depend, what type of opportunity you are getting. So these are, some external aspect of so how to pursue astronomy. Now, I would like to, go a little deeper in technical aspects of astronomy, where there is a probability that suppose if you have decided, okay, that I want to go to, astronomy and space science, what are the things that we can do? So for that purpose, first of all, you need to acknowledge what is there in astronomy and space science, right? You must educate yourself. So I am the one who is doing outreach program for past more than now 34 years. I am teaching astronomy and trying to convince people that astronomy is something which is the only science that is going to save whole of a humankind. There are so many jobs, but this is something where I try to connect people to different walks of life and to astronomy and space science, whoever and whatever you could be. But I wish that you understand, you touch astronomy at least once, by game, by observation, by theory, by practicals, by model making, anything. You do something, and like a Vedchala, I was heading Vedchala, and here you can see the education minister and some of the trustees and Gujarat Samachar head and everyone. So I used to, teach astronomy at a place where it was only astronomy, right? Every day there were some programs, and trust me, because of my such outreach, there are more than 50 students up till now must have opted astronomy as their career. I'm proud of that. I'm not saying that only 50 out of more than 50,000 that I might have touched, but 50 is good number, right? So these are just a small glimpse of my uh, phase of astronomy and space science with routine people. So many things that happened in past so many years where I did so much. I am trying my best. I'm not going into technical aspect or details of all these things. I wish that you see, even after my only BSc chemistry, I was a faculty at SEP. I headed Vedchala. I did multiple TV program. I did multiple radio programs. So many times I did take part in All India Amateur Symposium meets. We also even conducted one amateur astronomers meet, but it's not exactly the background of study that requires. But if at all you have a background of physics, or if you have a background of engineering, trust me, nothing can stop you to top in astronomy. Right? So if you are convinced, then how should we do? So there are so many things, so many means once you get into it, like knowing the swimming in a swimming pool, swimming in a small, a pond, swimming in a river, or swimming in a ocean, all these things are different, though swimming, right? So though you have decided, okay, now I wish to go into astronomy, there are so things that would pop up, right? Like geometry of sphere. Now understand that astronomy is a spherical in every sense, be it a spherical or be it a non-spherical. We find, a curvature in every aspect of the celestial body that are there. So there can be, spherical geometry like a 2D surface of a sphere. Like we consider surface of a sphere in a 2D manner, position of the Earth's surface, spherical trigonometry. Like trigonometry, without trigonometry means without mathematics, physics is near zero, right? The small spherical triangle, solid angle, all these things are very important in astronomy because astronomy is based upon, understand, astronomy is based upon a sphere. Like Earth is a sphere, then we are thinking that every star is, somewhere on a external sphere that is surrounding the Earth, surrounding the solar system, surrounding the galaxy. Now you see, if it is surrounding the Earth, then if this is Earth, then this is the sphere that we are seeing. But if I go outside the solar system, then solar system is small, and again I'm seeing a different sphere. If I'm going outside the galaxy, then galaxy is a small island, and I'm seeing another sphere. So every time it's a sphere, it's a mathematics, it's a trigonometry that gives you more understanding about anything and everything, that as an observer it is very important. Suppose if say let me take you to another type of thing. Like if I want to track sun and take the I want to go into say solar energy in my profession. So if at all you have studied how to track sun, then for that purpose you need to know the solid angle of the sun. You need to know the solid angle, exactly how the sun, what geographical place you are, right? Everywhere the sun's rays falls onto the earth at a different angle. So you need to know spherical geometry. You need to understand that how sphere works when you are into astronomy. Suppose if I want to track any satellite, suppose if I want to understand how the timing is different from one zone to other zone, so many things, trust me, so many things you can achieve. Like it is not something like you will be going to astronomy means you will not go to anywhere. I am into astronomy, but I read a lot about every aspect that is touching astronomy. Like suppose if I understand only one thing, the solid angle, then it's a a kind of a two-dimensional angle in three-dimensional space. So all these things, it will give you beautiful understanding of astronomy, right? Then there is a kind of a coordinate system. Suppose if right now I am sitting in Navrangpura area, you are, someone is in Isanpur, someone is in Bhopal, someone is in Surat, someone is in Hyderabad, someone is in say Singapore, someone is in Australia, someone is in America. You could be a local person to enjoy or understand astronomy, or someone who is a global. In this place, the horizontal system that I know means I have a specific horizon, though it's a spherical thing. I'll be seeing a flat earth. In the same manner, suppose if you are in the city with a different area, you will also share the same type of plane, because earth is very vast otherwise, if I consider the coordinate system horizontally. But if I go to Surat, then there is 250 kilometer away. Suppose if I go to Hyderabad, then there is approximately more than say 1300 kilometer curvature. So in that curvature, if my horizon is like this, then Hyderabad's horizon is like more curved. But if I go to Australia, then the horizon is completely different, because it's in the other hemisphere of the Earth. So the horizontal system needs to understand where there are different zenith, different noon, different angle of everything that rises and sets. The equatorial system. Now the equatorial system is most used in astronomy, where you are supposed to take care of the North Pole star, nothing else. If you know where North Pole star is, and if you make all the data in that respect, then definitely everyone on Earth. Suppose if I am in Ahmedabad and I say, "Hello, Australia, yeah, look up there, look at 90 degree, look at the zenith," but my zenith and his zenith are different. But at the same time, if I go with equatorial system, then I'll say, hello, yeah, you take one RA XXXX degree and one declination with so and so. So RA and declination are two coordinates that is good with everyone on Earth, right? So northern hemisphere celestial sphere is more important for us because we live in northern hemisphere. Circumpolar star, measurement of latitude and declination. Now, whatever is a latitude, understand this. Whatever is a latitude on Earth is a declination in coordinate system for transformation of one coordinate system to another. Longitude are right ascension. Whatever longitude you are on to, right? Like Ahmedabad is on 72° east longitude. That means whatever it is up there, it is considered as right ascension, and right ascension is always measured in hour angle, right? So hour, arc minute, and arc second, whereas latitude is considered, the declination is considered in degree. The way we go in a latitude, like we are living on 23° north latitude, in the same manner up there, like suppose if I say North Pole star, what is the coordinates of North Pole star? So I have to say that plus 90°, that is the declination, and there are no hour angle because all the longitudes they meet at the poles of any particular axis. Then there is ecliptic system of coordinate and galactic coordinate. Like what is ecliptic coordinate and galactic coordinate? Ecliptic coordinate means we have solar plane as coordinates, and then we have galactic plane where the galaxy is aligned, right? So now these are the stars which can be understood in such a way that suppose if there is a north celestial pole, as I said, it would be at 90° plus, south celestial pole would be 90° minus, equator, that is a celestial equator, could be 0°, and every star that are, suppose if I am in Ahmedabad, then the North Pole star would be 23° high above the horizon. Stars which are near this North Pole star within 20°, then what will happen? You can see that it would be visible throughout the day, night, or season, or a year. That means they are called circumpolar. It would never set. Certain star beyond 23° would be rising and setting, and certain star would never rise because they are below minus 23°, right? So we cannot see certain stars. This is just a small understanding that suppose if I am on the equator, if I am at the pole, or even I am at any other geographical location, then this is how you come to know that like these stars they would never set. These stars would never set, but these stars would rise and set. These stars would never be visible. These stars would never be visible. But at the equator, nearly every star would be rising and every star would be setting. So small understanding, and you will understand more of astronomy and space science. Like celestial sphere coordinate system, the sun's geometrical behavior, sunset and sunrise. So many times I have taught to so many science teacher that sun never rises exactly from east every day. Only twice in a year it would rise exactly from east. So rest of the time it either moves towards north or it moves towards south. So you need to understand that geometric behavior of that. Sidereal and synodic time. Now this is something which is very important to understand. But here I'm showing that at one particular point, suppose if you take up a small project, that every day, say at suppose if your college timing is say 10:30, and if you are supposed to leave by 9:30, then every day 9 o'clock you click, not every day, but you click picture of sun every 15 days, like first of any month, 15th of any month, you start clicking picture of sun every 15 days at exactly 9 o'clock, then the sun's position would vary throughout the year, and this is the picture of that. It is called analemma, right? So this is analemma, and this is from Kumagaya. Kumagaya is in Japan. So they had this thing, and the same would be at any geographical location over the earth. Then there is a sidereal and synodic time. What is sidereal and synodic time? So in this case, suppose if my new moon is say on 1st of say July, then my next new moon routinely takes, the rotation of the moon completes in 27.6 days, right? So in 27.3 days, that means in 27.3 days, my finger, it moves and comes back to the same place, but it's also orbiting around the earth. So it is ahead of what position it comes back. So I need to turn little more. So in this case, we are having two Amavasya or two new moon or two full moon after nearly 29.5 days, not after 27.3 days. Why? Because as I said, that Earth moves in its position ahead of the position which it had. In this case, the sidereal time is called 27.3 days and synodic period is called 29.5. Now, this is not something where I need to, I'm not taking your class as a routine class, but I'm telling you that very small understanding and you will understand so many things. Like even this small picture of season, that also requires physics, that also requires geometry, that also requires some geographical location understanding, and every such thing where the timekeeping system, as I said, that there is a sidereal time, that is what I make you understand. Mean solar time, how many of you know? Majority of you must be saying that okay, it would be at noon at 12 o'clock, right? At noon at 12 o'clock. Absolutely wrong concept. Noon in Ahmedabad or noon in and around Ahmedabad routinely happens at 12:39 because we are not on equator. Right. So every time the noon is different. What is noon? What is noon? Noon means when sun rises, it goes to the highest elevation in the sky. Understand? Sun rises, it goes to the highest elevation and it sets. So the highest elevation is called line of meridian that passes from north celestial pole to zenith, that is the highest point, to south celestial pole, to the opposite point, that of zenith is called nadir. So a meridian which makes a circle, and when sun crosses this circle, when it touches this circle, it is called the noon. Now these things should be taught in schools, not in a college, but we never understood this because our teachers are not so educated in this particular regards, right? Civil daylight, twilight time, Greenwich date time zone, and tropical year and a calendar. So many things we need to understand to understand astronomy, because we depend upon a data of a day, data of a time, right? There is typical coincidence that the time and space, once they were separate, and after Einstein they are combined, they are one. So time and space you can't segregate, right? So, and to understand that, you need to understand this timekeeping system, right? Optics of astronomy, which is again very important, because if you wish to make a telescope, if you wish to observe something, you need to understand optics. And not only telescope, there are so many other things. Like suppose if I want to make a spectrometer, suppose if I want to make an infrared telescope, suppose if there are n number of uses of understanding the optics, right? Suppose if tomorrow after studying physics, you want to open a shop for the spectacles, then also the optics comes, right? different types of lenses, different types of mirror, liquid lens, solid lenses, and now there are multiple lens system that is now coming up. Like every different type of glass has a different refracting index, and now that also gives you so many aspects to understand. These are, just a basic type of telescope that I wish you understand, that refractor is something which has only lenses. Reflector has one primary mirror where all the light comes, then it is, falling onto the middle secondary mirror, it goes out there, and in the third Cassegrain type, the primary mirror has a hole in it, so there is a secondary mirror which collects all the light and gives us to the every time we go this way. You require physics, you require maths, you require engineering, right? So all these three things are hand in hand whenever there is, kind of astronomical telescopes are concerned. So there are telescopic mount to understand, drives to understand. What is the reflective surface made up of? It should be, perfect aluminum, or whether it should be a, mercury coating. What coating exactly? Telescopes in space. There are ground-based telescope like huge observatories. Once it was, it started with a very small telescope, like just a 2-inch telescope, and now it has reached to what level? The largest that is coming up would be 138 feet. 138 feet diameter. So all these are, space telescope that are sent by different countries into space, and they are not of the same wavelength to capture anything that is out there in the space. There are multi-wavelength telescopes, like X-ray telescope. Then there are gamma ray telescope. Then there are so many, and these are type of different telescope which has a different sizes, right? So starting from Akari to Gaia, these are very small, but the next gen which is upcoming, like Hubble is a 2.4 meter, then William Herschel, it will be a 3.5 meter. James Webb, which is about to, means since 2015, I'm listening that JW is about to launch, and now they have given a date of 2021. So 6 years of delay, and again a big radio telescope of 10 meter they are sending into space. A physicist is definitely required along with all the engineering aspects. So these are the observatories out there somewhere in the on the earth, and starting from Palomar, which is 5,600 feet tall, to Alma Observatory, which is 16,500 feet high. These are, the pictures of one particular object, right? This is Whirlpool Galaxy. Now, Whirlpool Galaxy in radio, you can see what picture it looks like. You can see in infrared what detail it is capturing. In optical, it looks beautiful. Then ultraviolet, then X-ray. In every different wavelength, you can capture different type of information, and depending upon that information, we study ahead. We make our different theories. We write theories according to the observation that is out there. So it's a beautiful science, way beyond understanding and comparison. Then there is a celestial mechanics, like once we thought that there is a Earth in the center, and every other planet and star and sun, moon, everything is orbiting around the Earth. But then it was 1543 when the whole thing got changed. That time, the sun became the center, and the rest of the thing became kind of a universe for them at that time. So Copernicus changed it, Kepler stamped it, Galileo stamped it, and then all these different type of equations and laws of motion, Newtonian system, so many things, like it goes on and on it would go. So orbital aspect, whether it's a spherical, whether it is elliptical, whether it is parabolic, whether it is hyperbolic, like all different types of orbits are there. Like very few are in a orbits are in the circular manner. Majority of them are in elliptical, and some of them are in parabolic and hyperbolic. Parabolic and hyperbolic are some comets only, right? Right now, what we have understood is comets are those who are one-time visitor of the solar system are having parabolic or hyperbolic orbit. So different types of celestial mechanics we need to understand, and it depends, what exactly is attracting you, and like escape velocity. This is also something where you need to understand the gravity, you need to understand Newton's third law, you need to understand what fuel, you need to understand what is the capacity of the rocket that it is carrying, different number of satellite. The highest number of satellite that India, put everyone into orbit was 104 different satellites. Now you see, taking satellites up there and then putting them into different orbit. Look at the physics and engineering aspect. It's way beyond our understanding. Like the Virial theorem and Jeans limit. These are something where whether the star will take the birth out of the material that is out there is a Bok globule, or it would just destroy the star. So all these things are right. Solar system is something which is most attractive because it is easily available. Everyone can figure out where the Jupiter is, where the Saturn is. These days, Jupiter and Saturn are easily visible in the southeast sky of the night. Jupiter and Saturn both are in opposition right now. What is opposition? Right. Suppose if I am here on Earth and Jupiter and Saturn are here, then the Sun is exactly opposite. Right. So that is called opposition. When the Sun is setting, it is rising. When it goes down, it goes like this. So suppose if I am going to observe the Jupiter at the zenith, that means the Sun is at nadir. So that is called opposition. So orbit of the Earth and the Sun with the orbit of the Moon. So many different calculations are to be made. Eclipse and occultation. Eclipse is what? We all know, right? But what is occultation? Occultation is something when the moon is having a different speed of its orbiting around the Earth compared to the stellar movement. So if you see one star here and if you see the moon here, then moon goes faster than the stellar movement. So a time comes when they see occultation, when they obscure the light of that particular star. The moon obscures the light of that particular star and then it comes out. During such a time, they have found exoplanets, not by moon, but by some other star or by some other object. Like recently, if I'm not wrong, it was 2017 or 18, in Africa, they wanted to confirm one of the orbiting satellite of an exoplanet. Now you see, star itself is very far away, planet orbiting the star and the satellite orbiting that planet. Now you see, it's way far than what you can think of. Now they wanted to observe the occultation of these things. So you can imagine, what is the meaning of occultation and what is the importance of that. So planetary structures and surface and atmosphere and magnetosphere and albedo and polarimetry spectrum. So many things can be understood. If you understand all these things, then planetary science is something. Planetary science would be the next generation thing because we are not safe on Earth. Don't think that tomorrow Earth is going to die. Suppose if say after 200 years Earth is going to die, then don't you think that we need to have a secondary biosphere either on Moon or either on Mars or either on the cloud top of Venus or on a Europa or on a Titan? But for that purpose, you need to understand solar system. You need to understand geology of every different planet. And for that purpose, you need to understand the origin of it and the probable future of it. Right? So many types of detectors. We have CCD and photo emission device, infrared rays and thermal. Different thing. Trust me, there are ways and means of seeing astronomy in different light. Sometimes someone is good at theory, sometimes someone is making that theory into practice, and someone are good at observational and data taking or analysis aspects. So you can have different groups who can do wonder for your university or for your college. So there are so many things that you need to understand and study. These are certain things. If I keep on going, already it is 10:45. I think I need to stop at 11. So many different types of experiment that are there as a part of special physics, astrophysics, or say astronomy, or say space science, anything, right? Where different experiment can give you different understanding of solar system. So these are the thing. HR diagram. This is something like only HR diagram. This one line will make you understand how stars, what star, where star, temperature, size, mass, radius, and the probable death of it, probable future of what would be as a dying gas. So many things. If you just go through HR diagram, trust me, you will understand every aspect of the stellar evolution. So there are so many things. I'm so much amazed by astronomy that I can keep on speaking for days continuously. But time is something which stops me from all such things, and these are just and this is what you can understand as a the protostar to blue giant, from protostar to blue supergiant to a black hole, then a protostar to supergiant to type 2 supernova, then a black hole, then a protostar to blue supergiant to the red giant to the blue giant to the supernova to the neutron star, protostar to sunlight star to red giant to planetary nebula. Amazing, right? There are n number of things that I can, tell you about every aspect. But to understand all this stellar evolution, if we understand the sun properly, nothing like it, because we have a ready-made laboratory very much within our limits, within our reach. Already there are multiple satellites which are orbiting around the sun, is studying sun like anything. So solar physics is something very typical. You understand corona, you understand chromosphere, you understand photosphere, you understand the interior of the sun. If you understand these many things, then you can also say that, like, you must have heard in 2012, according to Maya dynasty, the earth was going to an end. We are already 8 years ahead of that end. But what could be wrong that could have vanished the earth? Suppose if I just say only the sun can play the role, and in a second we all can vanish in air, we become basic elements. How? Suppose if you are not studying the sun, suppose if you are letting everything happen, then a solar ejections like coronal mass ejections or say solar wind can disrupt our satellite, and we can destroy the whole of a biological activity if the X10 type of SME, that is solar mass ejection, or CME, coronal mass ejection, comes towards the earth, nothing can survive. If X10 comes towards the earth, nothing can survive. But we are very grateful to nature that no CMEs are seen ejecting from the equatorial band. They go beyond 20 degree or so. There is more activity because sun is a gaseous. So the probability of sun's rotation is very fast at the equator. Where it is slower, they eject a lot. Had we been at the say orbit of Pluto, then the Pluto's orbit is 28-degree decline. So at 28-degree, numerous such CMEs can come, and if it is X10, then we would be gone. So many different opportunities of studying sun. Also, solar cycle is there. Every 11 years there is a solar cycle of say, the sunspot. the interior of the sun, if you understand fusion, if you understand fission, all these things are very beautiful to know. Like this is a corona, this is a solar wind. I'm just showing you in my slide. So these are the things that will give you different aspects of the sun. This is a type of a solar cycle. Where in 1996 there were no sunspot visible. In 2001 it was a maximum. 2006 again it went minimum. Now again, we are in a kind of a position where it would be continuously changing different type of understanding. I'll take 3-4 minutes to complete my presentation. I'll be showing you top schools for PhD and research opportunity in astronomy and astrophysics. These are the universities of USA which can, give you admissions to take up the research further if at all you are into it. If you are in Europe somewhere or in a UK, then there are another type of universities where you can, after your astronomy or astrophysics or MSc physics, or say after your masters in engineering, if you opt for, then you can go to such. These are top universities which makes you understand about astronomy. But where can we go as astrophysicists in India? Then there is a BARC, then there is, IUCA already in Pune. There is another National Center for Radio Astrophysics Technology, Information Life Forecasting. ISRO is there, then IIAP is there, then there is a Raman Institute, Physical Research Laboratory in our Ahmedabad only, then there is a Tata, and that is TFIR. Osmania University, Hyderabad, Indian Institute of Science, right? All these things, and even IPR, Indian Plasma Research, I forgot to write in this. So with this, there are still numerous more slides which I have here, but I would like to stop here because in one day we can eat only a few number of rotis. If we eat more rotis, then we cannot survive. We puke it out, and I don't wish that you puke out. So here I'm stopping my presentation. I don't know how many of you are still alive, how many of you are still awake, how many of you are bored. I don't know. I had no view. I was just concentrating on delivering whatever I had in my mind for those who are just looking for a good career somewhere in physics, and that is astronomy and astrophysics, right? Thank you very much, Ashish, for your time.
Thank you so much, sir, for a wonderful insight into a lot of things. I mean, there were a lot of things that you told, and including the last stuff was very nice. That I mean, what are the opportunities? Where can people go? And how can a lot of people be connected? Actually, that is what students need to understand, because the normal concept, as you said, that normally what happens is in every place, every university or everywhere, what teachers say is astronomy means okay, it is for physics, this is for engineers, this is for chemists, like that. It is like just a sort of a lot of divide into things everywhere. But this is a multidisciplinary science, and almost all the things are multidisciplinary, but you explained it very well. So there is opportunity for everyone, and I mean everybody is invited. That is how astronomy is. And as I see that there are almost 40 people still there into the meeting. So overall it was very nice and interesting for me. Maybe if there are certain questions, if the participants or attendees who are there, if they want to ask some questions, then they can ask. But by the time, sir, I'll ask one thing. Maybe shall we stop the recording process over here, sir? Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, fine. Then